All right, Andrew Easton back here with Dr. Lynn Herr of ESUCC. Learned a lot from Lynn today as she's sharing a number of different just fun things to do within Zoom to kind of help make things a little more engaging, a little more interactive. And so we're going to talk a little bit about fun video effects in Zoom in this video. So Dr. Herr, thank you, and we look forward to learning a little bit from you now about this particular topic.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. So we're just covering two things here that are fairly easy for teachers to start using, and it just adds that interest and fun into Zoom. So the first one, which is really strictly fun, although as I know all of you out there as teachers find ways to make this also educational, but one thing that we can do now in Zoom is add some filter effects. So when you are in your Zoom window, if you go over to the video camera and do the little arrow that pops up the menu, one of the choices that you have is choose video filter. And notice we are not choosing virtual background, we're choosing video filter. And once you click that, it pops up this screen that gives you options. So what comes up first, here are video filters, and I'm just going to click through a few of these. You can see here's a smiley face. Sometimes people like this for an attention getter where you can be inside of a TV. You can have a lovely room setting here. You can add colors. You can add, if I was reading about Olivia, if I was reading a picture book about Olivia the pig, this might, again, capture that student interest. I think two that I'm going to skip no matter what are these two right now. There's too much of that in real life. We've got scrapbook. We've got a studio. This one's kind of fun where it actually puts you in the art that's on the wall in the room. So just scrolling through these, and I'll share personally, recently I burned myself with my curling iron, so I had to have a giant Band-Aid on my forehead. This beret took care of that for me. You couldn't see the Band-Aid anymore. This could be fun with graduates. So I think this is also has potential to be a reward system for students where if they are doing what you need them to do, they could choose an effect to use for the day. You could reserve these for teachers as a way to, I think we all saw some video last spring of a teacher who dressed up differently every day for Zoom. Maybe this is the DIY dress up for those of us who don't have a whole closet of costumes. So there's a lot here that you can try. So this comes up right away in video filters, and you just choose the one that you want and close the window. While we're here, though, I also want to point out in the lower right corner, there's studio effects. And this is a really kind of odd set of things. I'll pop back over to this. While we look at this, this literally is digital enhancement of your face. So if I click these eyebrows, you'll see that I got pretty scary looking eyebrows there. I can change the color of my eyebrows. And I actually had some teachers who really liked this as a feature because they could digitally do this instead of physically. I think it's kind of interesting that if you, of the options that we have here, and notice if you don't turn off this box, that whatever you put in will apply to any future Zoom that you're in. So you can give yourself a little eyebrow makeover here if you want. You can give yourself a mustache or beard if you want. And you can also give yourself customized lips. So you can see there's my eyebrows. And then here we have, so these are just the three things that are in there right now, but I would expect that we would see some more of those coming soon. So just a couple things that Zoom has added right within Zoom for fun. And I'll go back now to my and I've still got my lovely makeup on here, so I'll send that off too.
Well, I'd add too that I like the thought of filters like this for things like if you're reading a play, allowing different students to take on different roles or characters. I think they can kind of dress up according to that. And I know Snap Camera is an add-on that I've really appreciated. And they even have filters like Abraham Lincoln or William Shakespeare. And so you could talk as an author or talk as a historical figure. You can create your own in Snap Camera. And so there are a number of ways to sort of leverage something similar in those with those opportunities.
So from what you're describing, Andrew, Snap Camera is a feature outside of Zoom, but yet you can layer it in Zoom and other tools as well, or is it specific to Zoom?
Yeah, you can layer it into other tools. And so in the same place that you clicked to kind of add down there, yep. When I click on there, it gives me the option to utilize other cameras. So I think if you actually hit the button itself, maybe instead of the caret, Snap Camera comes up as an option for me so that I can sort of toggle back and forth between and even bring up multiple filters, which is kind of fun. So something worth checking out if that's of interest.
Yeah, I think that'll be another video coming soon.
Right.
All right. So the other, do you want me to continue?
Yeah, yes,
all right,
please.
so the other feature that we just wanted to show is that how to do a layer of you and your background in one window. So all I did here was click the share screen in Zoom, and by default, Zoom always comes into basic. What we want to do is click advanced, and I'm going to choose this one with the big blue border that says slides as virtual background. If you do not have this as a choice, it's because most likely your Zoom has not been updated in the last couple months. So you just want to update your Zoom, and you want to make sure that student devices have an updated Zoom as well. So I'll go ahead and just click that and click share. And what it does is it wants us to find a file that's been saved as a PowerPoint. If you don't have Microsoft Office, you can go into Google Slides, go under File, Download as PowerPoint, and save it that way. And that's what I did. And I'm just going to load up a one-slide file that shows the inside of a library that I was fortunate to see last year in Stockholm. And let me get to it here. Here we go. So this tour of schools and libraries. I gave a presentation on this for a group of all of the library. I love libraries that I got to see when I was in Sweden and Indonesia. So what happens here is this was just one slide. I saved it as a PowerPoint out of Zoom. And by sharing it with that blue button, it layers me as the teacher or presenter right over the top of the slide, kind of like the weather map on TV. And the advantage of this is that it requires less division of attention for students. So instead of having to watch me in one window and the thing that I'm referring to in a different window, students can look at one window and see all of it. And I can move myself around. So I could, if I wanted to come over here and show that I was looking at something, I have to practice because I actually have to look opposite of what we see here. But if you practice, I could point to things that I want students to do or see. We just have to practice in terms of how we do that. So that's all there is to it. If this was multiple slides, I would have this control at the bottom, and I would just click the forward and back arrows to go from slide to slide. And I have had really positive feedback from lower elementary teachers who need to have students see something and their teacher most easily at the same time. And that example that's in our master slide deck has a tutorial of how they took pictures of pages of a storybook, loaded that as a PowerPoint file that they opened. And so the teacher was at the bottom reading the story to the kids and would just advance through those pages as slides in Google Slides or within that Zoom window to be able to have those together.
I love that idea for that read aloud, being able to capture that this way. And so, gosh, Lynn, thank you so much for sharing these ideas. Like she said, make sure you check out that slide deck. We're going to be back for more in this series, so be sure to look through those as well with more tips and tricks. And so we'll talk to you or see you in the next one.